Good morning, everybody. Welcome to an episode of Chop Talk that is impromptu for a Sunday. I typically don't play Sundays. I don't like them. I believe that they are the worst MLB day of the week, with day after night games, catchers getting rest, studs getting days off, veterans getting, especially if a team is going for a sweep, they'll tend to rest a bunch, throw a crap lineup out there. And the bottom line is it's just a random day. When we increase the volatility and increase the randomness of the game, we decrease our edge, and we turn this game away from a skill game and back into a luck game. And if you're a newer beginning player, you want luck on your side. If you're a experienced player, you want skill on your side. And you want to get away from slates like these as a general rule, because you only play when you have an edge and you want the largest edge possible. So that's the leadoff tip today. This is an episode of Chop Talk brought to you by DFSArmy.com, your one-stop shop for everything DFS. We've just introduced tiered pricing. So go down into the comment section, click the link, use coupon code CHOP, pick your tier. We have a tools only option that gets you things like the research station, the domination station, optimizer, and whatever else. And then we have a VIP option, which gets you everything, including the Slack channels, the coaching, the conversation that goes back and forth. And I'm telling you right now, if you play NFL preseason, if you play MLB or especially NBA close to lock, you need to be a VIP. You're just not going to be able to do that with your on your own with these tools. They're great, they help, don't get me wrong, but you can't give us any feedback towards what you'd like to see. You can't get any coaching advice or any help towards what's confusing you, because you've got no way to contact us. So you need to be a VIP for only $15 a month. You're already spending $30 for only $15 a month more. If you're a value shopper, you've got to take a shot at the VIP membership. But anyway, let's dive in. Let's run through this slate super quick today. Let's cover the main slate, because we've got Army coverage coming out for the smaller slates inside our Slack channels for our VIPs. I'll bow out, let them do it. But we're a little short-handed today, so I'm going to dive in, put a little video out here, hopefully get this out before lock. So I've really got to fly. I sorted the pitchers by DFSA grade. When I sort them by pitching by K percentage, I pull all the big dudes up to the top: Sale, Carrasco, Syndergaard, Godley, Castillo, Weaver, whatever. This is about as low as I'm going. I'm going to pan all the way over here, take a look at the large Vegas odds. 350, 250, 160, 150. I'm not touching Sabathia down here at 220. I'm looking for guys that have the strikeout potential and the odds in their favor to get the win. And then I'm going to sort by price tag. And I'm going to probably be on a Syndergaard. I don't know about Godley. Probably a Weaver, Syndergaard and Weaver, and maybe a Carrasco. Chris Sale at 12A. It's just, you can't get a lot of bats around him. It doesn't mean he's a bad pitcher, of course. It just means he almost handicaps your lineup from the top end. Almost like a salary cap and signing a guy to $1 million when you only have a salary cap of $2 million and you got to form the rest of your team. Hello, DFS. That's what we play, a salary cap game. Get with the program, Chop. It is a Sunday. Anyway, let's dive in. Let's explain a little bit. You can see all the numbers here with the research station. I already told you who I'd probably go for. The biggest thing that we're going to end up doing is we're going to then sort by ascending order, and we're going to reverse it. And we're going to throw the junk to the top. We're going to come down here to about a 40 rating, get down to Glasnow, maybe Sabathia. And we see Cleveland, Boston, Detroit, New York, Toronto, Texas in pretty good spots today. Now, when I scroll over and I look at implied run totals in Vegas, in the Vegas numbers, I look at the opponent runs, and I'll point another thing out to you that I noticed when I see this. What I'm noticing when I come down here to about 4.6 is these 5 offenses. I see New York, Boston, Cleveland, St. Louis, and Detroit. So that already puts a couple of double check marks in the box, teams that are on both lists. But when we're looking at opposing runs, this is out of Vegas. This is the implied run total. We look at the opponent runs per game, and we see everybody's getting a boost. Half a run or so for these top. They normally score 5.2. They're supposed to score almost 6 today. That's a good situation. Look at this boost right here. From 3.9 in a weaker offense to a 4.6. Is that Detroit? That's Detroit. That's why Detroit lands on this list. That's a pretty big jump. You can also use that little nifty little method when you're looking through those numbers. Now we'll come over here to the righties. We'll sort by WOBA on the season long and see who's struggling against both sides of the plate. Let's go double red. We've got Covey up top, then not so much in Perez, not so much in Chen. Chen handles lefties. Then Glasnow, then Cobb, Junis, Fernandez, and then down here maybe Newcomb and Weaver. So when I scroll back over and look at these guys, I've got Cleveland, Toronto, Boston, St. Louis, Houston, Milwaukee, and Kansas City down in this area here. And now what I'm looking for is who checked all three boxes. Cleveland and Boston. They were on all three lists. They're a three-star offense today. They're in a great matchup. Your two-star offenses, either implied runs, double red, or DFSA grade on the pitcher and implied runs, or whatever the mix and match is. They landed on the three-pronged list twice. That's all of your others. That's your New York, St. Louis, Detroit, Toronto, and then you've got some one-star offenses that are still in a good spot in one area, and it happens to be the double red area. That's Houston, Milwaukee, and Kansas City. Those are your GPP type offenses. Now that doesn't mean the rest of the offenses are dead to me. That just means these are the offenses that I'm going to be keying on if I play any games today. This is how I would do it. And what, we're 5 minutes in with about a minute-long promo of the website, and you've already got the pitchers down that you want to use and the pitchers that you want to attack? How ridiculous is this game? Why are we spending hours and hours and hours digging deep into numbers? We don't need to do that. But again, you can't get this without the coaching that tells you exactly what it is you need to be doing. So we kick over to the Trends tab. And now we're sorted by DFSA grade, but as usual, I take the L7 WOBA category and I make it greater than 350 because I want to find bats that are hot, not cold. And at 350 to 375, 380, I'll include them as parts of my stacks, but I really want guys over 400 to be the core of my stack. If they're on this list, they're playable. Okay, if they're not on this list, they're not really playable unless we're really desperate for another bat in a stack. Okay, so I'm going to look at those offenses first, like Cleveland. Ramirez, Lindor, Brantley, Kipnis, boom, there's your order. That's who you should be playing. Boston, Martinez, Betts, Benintendi, Bradley, Bogarts, Devers. These are the guys, look at them, they're all running over 400, in some cases over 450. New York, Stanton, Andujar, Walker, Romine if he gets the start. Well, bring it in the start. These guys are a little less than these first two, but Stanton and Andujar are playing pretty well right now. St. Louis, Carpenter, DeYoung, Ozuna, Jose Martinez, Molina, Bader, Pena. You know what I mean? It's not rocket science, guys. These are the players. Now, you're going to mix and match these on your own. You're going to take some New York and some Boston, or some St. Louis and Cleveland, or some Cleveland and New York, or whatever you got to do to pick. I would pick a couple of these offenses that you really like. You might look in these team WOBAs and see which teams are generally rolling really well, because, again, that kind of plays into the double red, in that if the guy has trouble getting both sides of the plate out and both sides of the plate are hitting well, you've got a lineup that's ready to just flip over and over and over and deliver some big innings. Does it always happen? No, it's baseball. Jimaduchi, I don't know who else. That's why I don't like Detroit. They never run hot in unison. They've got a bunch of crappy bats. They find themselves in good positions, and then you go look at them, you get all excited. Maybe we get some cheap stacks, and you get crap. So I probably wouldn't be using any. Now, if Faducci gets a start, I might use him as a one-off. Smoke, Diaz, Teoscar Hernandez back on the list. Russell Martin, Luke Miley. There you go. This is what we're looking at. And Teoscar's just barely creeping back onto the list. He's been off this list for a while. He's not even at his 370 for 2 weeks. He's at 360. So he's creeping back up there slowly. Maybe he's coming over and regressing. Let's take a little peek at him. This is what I would do in this case. Let's look at his trending ISO coming up. Let's look at his trending hard contact coming up. Boom. I like me some Teoscar today. The indicators are showing an ascending player, a player who's maybe starting to get it figured out again, who's maybe starting to come up off of his lows of the season. And these are guys that you want to play. Why? Because their prices have been suppressed by their cold streak, and now they're starting to bottom out and come out of it. So you got a lot of value in Teoscar Hernandez today. You may run him as a one-off. You may run him as a couple of pieces of this stack. You may run Toronto and Cleveland or something because it's affordable. You're in a fine spot. If it happens for you, great. If it doesn't happen for you, it's a round ball and a round bat. It doesn't mean that it was a bad play. It just didn't pan out today. Pardon the rhyming. So that's basically your slate in a nutshell. All busted up, all the playable players. What we can do is we can go back, we can cut this one off, add in all the other teams. We can jack this way up even higher since we have the time and go to 400. And on Sunday, they all get starts. Who the heck knows who's going to get the start on Sunday? But we're going to cut this one down if you want to run a sale or somebody like that. Now we're going to come under $3,000 on Fanduel. I would love to know why that didn't do that, why that didn't help me. Pardon the slow. Ah, because I said greater than, not less than. Dumb me. Whack. There's your value list right there. To scroll down and get the rest of them, you're going to have to be a VIP. But up top, these are all guys hitting over 400 WOBA, all under 2,600 bucks. You're not going to take them against the sale. You know, you're going to look at the pitching matchups too, but this is a general list of value plays right here. Jose Martinez, 435, hit one out last night, multi-hit game, couple of those in a row that he's had. You know, you come down here, Kemp his ISO's over 300 lately, which is pretty stinking good. Russell Martin's getting hot again. I mean, you've got plenty of players on here that you can be pulling from. You know, another one, Mike Zunino facing the lefty. Good opportunity. Check his BVP against Dallas Keuchel. They're, you know, out there in the American League, they play each other quite often. There might be 20 at-bats of a sample size there, and maybe you see a couple of bombs. Maybe he's touched him up a little bit. These are all things that you look at in your time. I gave you the nutshell in 10 minutes. I gave you the slate breakdown of a 10-game slate in all of 10 minutes. I gave you the pitchers that you want to use, the pitchers that you want to attack, and the bats that you want to attack with in a 3-star, 2-star, 1-star fashion with GPP bats, and then we would dug into the offenses, found all of the hot bats. That's all the longer this takes. From there, you need access to an optimizer like the Domination Station where you can click and pump your projections up a little bit and get this guy pulling forward the offenses you want. You've also got the opportunity to do a bunch of stacking. Whoopsie. Well, all day works. But you've got the opportunity to do a bunch of stacking as well. If you want to focus on just Boston, Cleveland, and New York, good luck because they're super expensive. But if you want to focus on, you know, Cleveland, Boston, St. Louis, or Cleveland, Boston, Toronto, something like that, you come down here to the stacking. You know you want to go 3x3 or 3x4, fine, go for it. Boston, let's make them 75% of what we do. Let's make Toronto 75% of what we do. Let's make Cleveland 75% of what we do. And that's 150, 225. So I'd have to actually back somebody down. So if I make them half of what I do, leave them at a full, that's 175, 25% Yankees. Make 10 lineups, 3 unique players, tournament mode to randomize the stacks a little bit. Let's click optimize and see what happens. I don't know what pitchers is going to stick out. I don't know anything, but what I know, a lot of Luke Weaver. There, Boston, 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 Cleveland, Cleveland, Cleveland. There's your Boston and Cleveland stack right there. Now, I would look in here. Moreland's not on the list. Kipnis was. Nunez was not on the list. Lindor was not on the list. Maybe he was. J.D. Martinez. Jock Peterson is a one-up. Double dong power. Melky Cabrera was not on the list. Yonder Alonso not on the list. So I would go in here and I would tweak these numbers a little bit. I would take one of these guys. See, like Devers is on the list quite a bit. Moreland not on the list. I'd probably drop him down. And then I'd run it again. Melky Cabrera. I'd probably drop him down. Kick him off this list. And Yonder Alonso. Probably drop him down. Kick him off that list. I'd set these guys up. I'd pull other guys forward that I did like that were on my list. I'd re-optimize. And I'd get a different batch up here. Granderson, Geyer, Brantley. Again, these guys are not on the list, but there was Stanton in there. Luke Voigt. Don't know if he's running hot or not. Torres probably was not on the list. Sano probably was not on the list for Minnesota. Minnesota's not one of the teams we're targeting, but he's a power hitter. New York and Cleveland, though, Hicks, Stanton, Torres. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. Looks like you're running a lot of Luke Weaver today if you're running the Domination Station. To do that, you would change not his percentage, but you might come up here and change Chris Sale's percentage to make him a little bit more of a value pitcher. Pump him all the way up to 50. And now in that stack, you should see some Chris Sale, hopefully in there with some of your other pitching options. There's your Chris Sale. A little bit of Oakland, bit of Cleveland, Boston stack again. So this is how you play with the optimizer. You spend an hour doing this, and hopefully you get what you want. You get good lineups out of it. You run out and you win some GPPs. Anyway, if you want more advice, you want more coaching, you want more stuff inside Slack, you need to be a VIP all the way. If you just need the tools or just want the tools and you want to save 15 bucks, tier only is the light membership. That's how you do that. But you use the coupon code CHOP, trigger 10% off. Jump into the comment section, click the link, give me a like and a subscribe while you're down there because that helps let me know that I'm putting out the kind of content that you guys like. There's a 15-minute complete 10-game slate breakdown for you guys today. Rock and roll. See you Monday.